Sharm el-Sheikh is a lively, dynamic location. It has everything you're looking for, from beautiful resorts to world-class beaches and coral reefs. I wanted to put together a video to give you the top 10 places to visit as a first-timer in Sharm el-Sheikh. Now, let's hop into the video starting with number 10. Diving and snorkeling at Ras Mohammed National Park. This is one of the most famous diving sites in the world. The waters surrounding the park are considered the jewel in the crown of the Red Sea. You can have a day trip to Ras Mohammed by boat or by car. Here, there are many spots worth a visit. The Magic Beach with its incredible shades of blue, the Shark Observatory and the Jackfish Alley, divers' favorite where large barracudas, white-tipped sharks are often seen, the unbelievable Saline Lake, the Mangrove Channel. You can visit all these spots in one day with an organized / a bit frantic day too. But if you're in a large enough group, my recommendation is to actually just rent out your own private boat. The big advantage of that is that you don't need to follow the path that everyone else is following. You can call the shots, you don't need to follow everyone else. You can just go to your own spot and make your own adventure. Now, this is true for the rest of the excursion that we'll discuss in this video, so keep that in mind. A downside of this, of course, is that you might miss out on the social atmosphere that can happen when you have a great tour group. Next up on the list, an evening out at Farsha Cafe. Farsha Cafe is an incredible bar, one of the most beautiful in the world. A very picturesque Arabic lounge that will make you feel like in a tale of 1001 nights. The venue sweeps down from the top of the mountain to the sea, and there are many different terraces with Bedouin tents, vibrant cushions and rugs, bohemian decor with myriads of hanging crystals. The soothing notes of oriental music and the sight of the sea under you make of Farsha Cafe a unique place and a must visit during your holiday in Sharm. I recommend you to come at this place at sunset. By evening, the candles and the lanterns pair lit up, the temperature cools down and the ambience turns romantic and magic. And now, number 8, a desert excursion. Jump over sand dunes and zip across the Sinai Desert on a quad bike or a buggy. The sense of freedom that you experience when riding a bike in the desert and the sun is going down is unparalleled. Keep in mind, this is one of the most touristy activities, and again, if you're in a large group, you may want to consider setting up a private tour and get some real fun time on the bikes instead of sitting on the Bedouin tent for the largest part of the trip, as it sometimes happens when you book one of the cheapest tours. As often, the more you spend, the less you spend. Next up on the list is the Old Market. The scruffy streets of Sharm's Old Market are home to plenty of souvenir shops loaded down with lamps, shisha pipes and spices. All around you, ahwa, the traditional coffee joints, and some of the cheapest places to eat in Sharm. The secret to the souk is to wander into the back alleys where most tourists never go. There are great bargains and interesting shops behind the typical refrigerator magnet and pyramid paperweights offered up in the front. A word of advice: especially if you're a foreigner, some sellers will crank up the price and it's your job to bring it back down. By the way, a great bargaining tip: walk away to be called back in. After shopping, you must visit the recently built Al Sahaba Mosque, which quickly became the iconic symbol of Sharm, and afterwards head to the mountain with cafes where you can watch belly dancing. Our next place to visit in Sharm el-Sheikh is El Fana. If you want one of the better vistas looking over the Red Sea, make sure to check out El Fana, a beach overlooked by an old lighthouse, which is in Egyptian El Fana. Home to one of Sharm's best snorkeling spots, where manta rays are regularly sighted, at Fanar you'll also find lovely views. Here I had one of the most remarkable sunsets of my entire life. Here there are also plenty of restaurant, bars, and even an open-air club where the sound of the beats played by the DJ melts with the crashing of the waves along the coastline. More on this later in the video when we'll talk about clubbing. At number 5, we have Nama Bay. Sometimes when you travel, you want to avoid touristic areas, while still wanting to see the major sites and attractions. Nama Bay has mixed reviews depending on who you talk. Some people will say they loved it, some will say they hated it. Anyway, tons of people come here to eat out, to party. Essentially, it's the nightlife capital of Sharm, where fantastic bars and clubs are mixed with cheap bazaars and street sellers, and I highly suggest you to watch my definitive guide to Nama Bay to discover my favorite spots in the area and avoid tourist traps. Among the places I mentioned in that video, there is the Camel Bar, a wonderful venue with a rooftop where you can enjoy a drink or smoke hookah under the stars, and Little Buddha, one of the finest places in the city with a flashy oriental decor and a huge golden Buddha statue. The Pasha. This place has a special spot in my heart because it's one of the best clubs I've ever been. Now let's move on to Soho Square, an entertainment area built around the Savoy Hotel, one of the best resorts in Sharm el-Sheikh. Here you can find everything you're looking for, and the common denominator is quality. Shops, cafes, restaurants, a bowling alley, tennis courts, live music, even an ice rink. And the great thing here is that nobody is hustling you. You can walk freely through the streets, explore the cafe, the bazaars, without any street seller disturbing you. If you're looking for quality, you want to have a nice night out, this is the place to come. Next up on the list, a day trip to Dahab. Dahab is actually a place that's not in Sharm, but it's close enough that I thought I would include it. It's a really cool kind of yogi, easygoing town. Everything is very slow moving, relaxed. It has a kind of a laid-back feel to it, very chilled. It's one of those places where you get these hipstery, trendy coffee shops and restaurants along the coastline where you can suntan on the beach while sipping a cocktail. Dahab is also one of the top windsurf and kitesurf destinations in the world. If you love the sport, I'm sure you already know it. If you come to Dahab, you gotta pay a visit to the Blue Hole, one of the most famous, beautiful but also dangerous dive sites in the world. Alright, time to load up to the Mount Sinai and St. Catherine. There is something spiritual about being surrounded by pilgrims of different nationalities and religions as you climb the mountains where Moses is said to have received the 10 Commandments. After a tough but doable hike, you are rewarded by astonishing views over the Sinai Desert, some exaggeratingly beautiful mountains, as well as one of the best sunrise you'll see in your entire life. At the foot of Mount Sinai, the Monastery of St. Catherine, one of the world's oldest working monasteries, and here you also get to see the miraculous burning bush. Surprise, surprise, we're back into the water of Ras Mohammed to visit the epic White Island. If you're looking for Instagram likes, join a day boat trip to the White Island. It's stunning views, some of the most beautiful waters I've ever seen in Egypt. And these are the moments that stay with you for the rest of your life.
Let's go.